Morning, everyone. As always, I'm your host, Chi-Town Zone. And without further ado, let's get into this, you guys. Here we go again with round number two. It's good. It's set to be another boxing match, of course, as the impeachment inquiry hearings are set to get underway this morning over there at the nation's capital at starting about 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Here, of course, where many of us will be watching. Some of us may not even be watching, or some of us may only be listening in. Who knows? Of course, as always, unfortunately I will only be able to listen in as always. But of course, I know many of you, got to listen in a little bit of the impeachment inquiry hearing the day before yesterday with Ambassador Taylor and both George Kent. And man, did Jim Jordan absolutely go in on Mr. Taylor, on this entire impeachment inquiry sham, where he went on to state that it didn't happen. And Ambassador Taylor went to state he's only testifying based on what he heard via a phone call. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. Keep in mind, this is the same guy who strongly believes President Trump is guilty of quid pro quo based on nothing more than hearsay and opinion. There is no facts. It's all nothing but lies. But I think it was Senator McCarthy yesterday went on to speak where he referred to this entire impeachment inquiry as nothing more than a disgrace and went on to state that it needs to stop now. If the Democrat Party cannot trust the American people with no less than 11 months away until the 2020 elections, then what are we supposed to do then? The Democrat Party has been doing nothing for the last has not done anything, for the last 3 years for the American people, but been doing everything they possibly can to try to get President Trump impeached. They just want this man out of office and will stop at absolutely nothing. Excuse me for 1 second, guys. So, but again, it's absolutely ridiculous. Keep in mind, too, not only was this not entire impeachment inquiry hearing a sham. Keep in mind, Ambassador Taylor, this is Adam Schiff's number one key star witness. And this guy is basing this entire thing based on hearsay, opinion, and heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from someone who was on a phone call with someone else. This whole thing kind of reminds me of childish baby mama drama, more or less. It's a girl ends up calling up her girlfriend and go, "You'll never guess what I heard. I heard from a friend who 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 saw your baby daddy at the theater with another girl." That's exactly what this is like. It's nothing but childish rhetoric from the leftist Democrat Party to try to get President Trump impeached. And as I've stated before, I have a huge feeling this whole thing is going to backfire in their faces. I think it was Mitch McConnell who already went on to state that if the whistleblower does not testify in regards to this impeachment inquiry hearing, the bill to impeach President Trump will be dead on arrival before it hits the Senate, you guys. And Adam Schiff has already stated that they will not let the whistleblower testify, and he's willing to do everything he can to protect the identity of the whistleblower, even though he claims he does not know the identity of the whistleblower. But man, you just cannot make this up. We know Adam Schiff is lying clean through his teeth, because if he doesn't know who the identity of the whistleblower is, why are you so bent on protecting his identity? It just doesn't make sense. But this whole thing is just one big mess, you guys. But of course, again, we know we will be listening in on the second impeachment inquiry hearing, which is set to begin at 9 a.m. Eastern time over there in Washington, D.C., over at the nation's capital again. And there's no telling what is going to happen again. But I'm sure, Jim Jordan and others are going to bring their A game, because we all know that this is nothing short of a lie. It's a sham. It's a farce. Just as President Trump said, it's nothing more than a witch hunt. And if you cannot wait, 11 more months until the American people are ready to go cast their votes in 2020, it just goes to show just how desperate you truly are to get President Trump out of office. And, Mr. McCarthy went on to state yesterday in the press conference that, I'm losing my train of thought here, excuse me, went on to state that if you cannot trust the American people, you have not done nothing for the American people for the last 3 years, but been trying to get President Trump impeached. And it's getting ridiculous. It's an absolute disgrace, just like Mr. McCarthy went on to state yesterday. But of course, Again, we got so much to talk about with very little time because I got to get ready for work here, guys. But of course, as I've stated again, I will be listening in, and I encourage each and every one of you to subscribe and be sure to hit that little bell at the bottom there, so whenever a video is uploaded, you will be notified, you guys. But man, I mean, we'll see what happens in the end with today's second impeachment inquiry hearing as it's set to begin again. But man, keep in mind also, this is no joke, guys. Did you hear that a 7 foot tall drag queen actually crashed the impeachment inquiry hearing the day before yesterday? You're not hearing things, guys. We seen the picture of this individual dressed, very tall male, dressed in an all red dress with a big blonde white wig on, the full makeup and all. I mean, it was just ridiculous. It just goes to show what's really going. It's just a complete clown show. This is exactly what this is, guys. You cannot make this up. It's an absolute circus. But with that being said, again, you guys, do continue to pray for President Trump. Let's pray for his administration, his family, and of course this country, because we really need it right now with all that is going on in this desperate attempt once again to get President Trump impeached. And of course, with that being said, guys, do stay tuned and God bless.